He's David Allen Grier, actor, comedian, the pride of Detroit, Michigan.
Absolutely.
And are you still proud of Michigan, even though you don't live in Michigan?
Not the Wolverines, perhaps. I'm a U of M graduate, sir. And
Just like Rich Eisen, by the way.
okay, shout out to Rich Eisen.
Yeah, there you go.
Phrase that pays. What is Jeopardy? Anyways, yeah, it's hard to love them this year, but big Wolverines basketball fan. One of your guys on the Knicks is Wolverine grad, so good. I'm happy.
He's going to be headlining tonight at Caroline's. That'll be tonight, tomorrow night, right?
Absolutely, 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow.
When it comes to sports humor,
Uh-huh.
you being a sports, okay. How do you incorporate sports humor?
It depends. It depends.
Like what is funny to you?
A lot.
Yeah,
It's funny. Roger Goodell's whole press conference was very funny to me in a sad way.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot. I mean, sometimes I talk about it, sometimes not. Ray Rice, not a lot of comedy there, a lot of tragedy and sadness. But, last night was funny. Come on, you didn't think they pitched to Jeter? He just hit it. He's 100 years old.
You think that they grooved that pitch for Jeter?
It's obviously cheating. Derek Jeter. Who cares? I'm a Mets fan. When I lived in New York,
Oh, my God.
Mets, 86, baby. I was telling the guys in the other room, I met Keith Hernandez a year ago, and I was like a little kid. He's an old gray man. He could barely get out of the chair. I was like, Kiki, where's Mookie? I love the Mets. That's a real New York team. The Yankees have too much money, man. They should win every year. They're like the Lakers, only the Lakers are really bad.
But is there any other sports guy that makes you kind of melt?
Yeah, I mean the whole Mets team. Who else did I meet? I interviewed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and here's what I did years ago. And the thing is, he will not sign autographs.
Yeah.
So I did something unethical. I mean, when I go to him, I go, Kareem, I really want to be involved in your charity. And he was like, really? I said, yeah. Can you sign this basketball? And he just went. I felt bad, but I still have the basketball.
When you're walking down the street, let's say if we're walking down streets in New York, what do you hear?
David! I'm the working class. Guys, one time this homeless woman came up to me with a shopping cart, and she said, I love you. My kids, we all watch you. I'm like, where do you watch me? You have no home. You have no home. But I was a fan. But wait, you had me, I went to...
Well, I had a guy do that to me in Chicago. Paulie, do you remember when we were in Chicago?
Yes.
And I'm walking, and there's a homeless guy.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, can you give me some money? And Paulie and I were going to dinner, kept walking. And the guy goes, come on, Dan, give me some money. And I go, what? He goes, hey, I got cable.
It's a different world, man. Yeah, I saw a homeless dude with cell phone, everything.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you don't have a home, but you got a cell phone. But wait, you were asking about famous guys that make me melt.
Yeah.
I was on the plane with a boxer, Hands of Stone. What was his name?
Roberto Duran?
Roberto Duran. He was like the happiest guy on the plane. Nobody knew who he was. I mean, he was just, walking around. And I'm like sitting there going, this is one of the greatest boxers of all time, man. I was like a little kid doing Dancing with the Stars with, what's his butt? The linebacker. What's his name? He got busted on a rape charge.
You got to be more specific.
Black football player? That's half the league. Come on, come on. He played for New York. Was it Giants?
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor, again.
Okay.
All these people were running around, Lawrence, we need you for the Foxtrot. And I was like, this is probably one of the top 3 greatest football players of all time. And I would talk to him, and he would whisper, and he'd go, I'm trying not to, I don't want to knock nobody out. But they got to respect me. And I was like, that's why I was there. I loved Lawrence Taylor. He's awesome. Yeah, so a few guys make.
Did you ever do your Muhammad Ali impersonation to Ali?
No, I did not. I did meet Muhammad Ali when I was in Dreamgirls back in like 1984. Huge. He comes backstage with his wife is behind him. He's doing magic tricks. His hands were bigger than my head. As a kid, Muhammad Ali was probably the closest thing to a superhero in the flesh to me as a kid. And so to meet him was like awesome. I mean, he
But
was
you
pretty
couldn't
cool.
do your impersonation.
No, that was before the impersonation. Because normal people don't realize boxers, like I met Mike Tyson when he was on Broadway. I met him many years ago. He can still knock regular people out.
Yeah.
He may not knock people out in the ring, but he can still knock me and you out. Okay, so always courteous.
Do you do a better Tyson or Ali?
I would probably, I'm not very, I do a certain Muhammad Ali. I do him, after, in his later stages is what I do. Ray Leonard is also a friend, Sugar Ray. And again, he looks like he's in great shape. He can still knock me out. Okay, so much respect to him. Love you, Ray. Wherever you at, man. Don't knock me out.
Wait, you make it seem like it's a big deal that Ray could knock you out.
Well, no, I mean, because I think people go, oh, these guys are old.
No,
Yeah,
they can
they're-
still hit.
Yes, they can still knock
All it
normal
takes
people
is-
out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Mike Tyson, I went to see Tyson on Broadway. It was a great show. For me, it was great because I grew up a big boxing fan. I know all about Mike Tyson. So most of those stories I already knew. And it was like sitting in a living room and just with an old boxer who's like talking, telling these great stories. At one point, he actually started talking to me during the show. Yeah. And so
So you're in the audience.
exactly.
And
He
he's
goes,
just talking.
May I talk to you, please, for a minute? You know what I'm talking about. We're probably the same age. And,
and so I went back. Mike Tyson, man, I went back and his wife, Mike Tyson's wife said, look, Mike has come to see your show a bunch of times. I'm thinking, he's probably talking about Living Color way back. I was doing Porgy and Bess on Broadway at the time. She says, no, Porgy and Bess. And I go, what? So I go over to Mike and he was like,
I love this show. The prostitutes, the drugs, it was amazing.
he saw it 2 or 3 times and he would sneak out before people could recognize him. And we talked all about Porgy and Bess. He loved it. You think I'm kidding?
No, I don't.
I told Audra
No.
McDonald, she fell out on the floor.
He's David Allen Grier. You can see him at Caroline's tonight and tomorrow night. You also won nominated for a Tony Award.
Thank you. You
With
could have said
Jackie Robinson.
Yes, Jackie Robinson.
That was back in 1982. So you leave Yale
Yes,
and you're classically trained,
absolutely.
and then you go to in Living Color.
No, I went on Broadway first. The first was my first professional job. I played Jackie Robinson. You talk about sports guys. Leo DeRocher came. Ralph Branca, I think.
Yeah.
He came.
pitcher?
Yep, he came. Who else? All these surviving Brooklyn Dodgers in 1981 came to the opening night. And I get to hang out with them, these guys. That was pretty incredible. I've never been a real baseball fan. I grew up in Detroit,
Yeah.
but I was Tigers back in the day. Denny McClain before he went off the rails.
Mickey Lolich,
Yes.
Al Kaline.
Yes.
Mickey
yes.
Stanley.
Back in the day, when they would have the Fireman's Day at the ballpark, we would go. Policeman's Day, we would go. Bat Day. You can't do Bat Day now.
No,
'cause,
it's called
Pow!
Weapon,
Yeah,
weapon Day.
That's whoop ass day. But you can't do that. But Ball Day, you can't do that either. You got to do Wiffle Ball Day. That's what you got to do.
But did you guys know what you had in Living Color at the time? Was just
I didn't.
We had no idea what the Wayans had put together, and
No.
Jim Carrey. I mean, you had J-Lo as a fly girl, and Tommy was there, Tommy Davidson.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie
I was
Foxx.
like, this is for real. If you'd have told me, so look, David, I'll give you $1 million. Someone in this room is going to win a Best Actor award. I'd be me, of course. Because truly, I'm the most talented. But no, Jamie Foxx, dressed as Wanda, going, he will win. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I thought the show.
Jamie always loved dressing up as a woman, right?
I don't want to say that. Listen, Jamie is incredibly talented. It's been a joy to watch him develop and grow. He's an awesome actor. But you're saying back in 90, 91, I thought the show would go off the air and I'd get my true calling, play a black doctor or lawyer, on some detective show or something, and I was going to be made. Jim Carrey, from the beginning, he said, man, this is history. And I'm like, right, yeah, okay, whatever. Robert Schimmel, it was very famously said, one of the producers would argue with him going, you don't know who our audience is. He goes, yeah, I know, 12-year-old crackheads.
Did you hit on J-Lo back then?
No, man, I was married. And I was married, Tommy was married, Damon was married, Jim was married. We hit on the writers. We were trying to get more lines, bigger characters. We were ego-driven actors and comedians.
I loved Fire Marshal.
Fire Marshal Bill.
Oh my God.
I remember when we had this big table in our rehearsal hall, and we'd come in the morning, we'd eat breakfast. That's where a lot of the characters started. Like, we'd make each other laugh, test them out. If you lasted like 3 or 4 days at that table, people would already say, dude, you got to do that character, do that character. You know, Mr. McAfee started there. I would chase Marlon around. Those guys, they said, put it on the show. Jim started Fire Marshal Bill there, and he was scared to do it because he was like, you know, he's a horribly burned, disfigured fire marshal. And when he did it, people were so serious. He told me, like, fire marshal was like, yeah, we don't agree with that. We're trying to stop fires, and you're making a mockery of our job. So it's not funny. We don't, you know, kids could burn themselves to emulate you. You know, they're
It sounded like Christopher Walken a little bit there.
I was trying to do a New York fireman.
Oh,
you
is
know,
that what
you
it
know,
was?
The fire chief is always, you know.
Yeah, we just don't play with matches.
Paulie likes Funky Finger production.
Funky Finger, Howard Tibbs, and Clavel. Bam! Funky Fingers came. They used to, when Living Color was first on, there was no security. So literally, Keenan is in the makeup chair, and dudes would just stroll downstairs in the dressing room, and this really happened several times. Dudes would be like, hey, look here, brother. Love what you're doing, all your brothers. I'm going to give you my card. Do you know Spike Lee? All that stuff. This really happened. I got a script. Not for you, brother. Give it to Spike. Tell him to call me because we're trying to get our thing off. And we would just sit there and watch. Oh, yeah. There was a time when the Fly Girls were dancing and a dude was hitting on her during the dance break. Big legs. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Let me squeeze you. Tap her, man. Tap her right there. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild.
But you somehow survived.
I survived, and I persevered. I survived.
You know, here's when you know your career has pretty much stalled out. I remember I was at a comedy club. You know, you settle up at the end of the week, and the comedy, you know, the club manager goes, he says, Dave, you know, these young comics, they come up, they get their big break, they never come back. Unlike you, it's your 19th year. You always do good numbers. See you next year. We love you here at the Jiggle Hut. I'm like, oh, man.
You can see David Allen Grier tonight at Caroline's on Broadway tonight and tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming by.
Really quick, before I go,
Okay.
what's going on? The Giants won.
Giants won.
What do you think?
About?
Well, I mean, they were puddling. They were bottoming out. Now they won a couple of games, good or bad. Not a lot of excitement. Okay.
They're kind of like you.
Oh! We have gone from bad to worse. Oh, and so in other words, a lot of hope.
We'll see them next year.
Exactly, always true. Hey, you're not going to make it to the playoffs, but you're solid as a rock. Solid as a rock. Wow. Eli, no?
No. I mean, yeah,
Well,
sort
the
of.
40, what was it? Yeah, okay, I understand. Comes from a good family, though.
Yes, he does.
His brother's very talented.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Absolutely. Like the Wayans, they're wonderful.
Did they ever fight, like physically?
Honestly, no. I'm going to be schmaltzy now, but when Keenan and his brothers, every day they came in, the first thing they would say is, I love you, give each other a kiss and a hug. We worked all day. Last thing at night, I love you, man. I'll see you tomorrow. It's a beautiful family.
So
man.
like the Waltons, you know, when they'd say goodnight, Mary Ellen. Good night, Jim Bob.
Wayans, Waltons.
Yeah.
Wayaltons. I'm going to pitch that show, The Black Waltons.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
there you go. Thank you, David.
Absolutely. See you next
He's
year.
David Allen Grier.
Solid as a rock.
See him at Caroline's tonight and tomorrow. We'll get to your phone calls next. This is The Dan Patrick Show.